I should probably, add some stuff to the screen. Here's what we're going to do today. Hi, thank you for hanging out and being here. I appreciate you already. Like we're already getting started. I'm going to put on some music here in the background because I like to have the music in my ear. Maybe you do too. If not, I get it. And yeah. So I'll say this. Please, if the audio stuff, if I need to change the levels, let me know. I'm new to this. I'm trying to get better. But here's the plan. Today, we're gonna stream for a little while, about 2-ish hours, or maybe more. We'll see how it goes. I don't have an agenda. I'm gonna talk about Spring Cloud Task. I really just kind of went through this just a minute ago. Went through the docs, and I saw some good stuff. I saw some bad stuff. But my friends are working on it. We talked to Glenn yesterday, and that's why I chose this today. But like, there's nothing driving me. I don't have like, oh, I've got to do this and I got to get that. I don't have a schedule. This is what I talk about. I am a Spring developer advocate. I talk about Spring Boot. I talk about the cloud and Raspberry Pis and the edge. Like Spring Boot on the edge is interesting to me. I talk about Kubernetes. I run Kubernetes on my laptop, on my machines, and I talk about just getting to production. So that's what we're here to do. But I don't have all the answers, but I got friends like Glenn. It's okay and encouraged. Ask questions, like keep it child friendly, please. My kids watch this. My mom and dad watch this. Hi, Mom. And yeah, just like ask questions. I'm here to help get you unstuck. I'm going to make mistakes. Keep me honest. Like if you see something I'm doing wrong. But today I'm going to talk about Spring Cloud Task. Cool. So here, I jumped in and let's get caught up. I went and I made a repository that you can all play along with. So let's grab that repo here. I'll put that into the chat. So feel free. Hey, again, I read it as Kubernetes Sauvignon. Like, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you. And Tukes, welcome. It's good to see you. Tukes, you're from Algeria, right? Remind me. And I think Kubernetes Sauvignon is from Paris. But I want to, remind the kids. Oh, let me hide this. Here's the link to the repository that we're going to work on here. So here we are, and this is awesome. I went and I made I went to start.spring.io just to get you caught up. And I did this. I grabbed 3.2. I changed the names to protect the innocent. But I grabbed, nope, not batch. Batch was yesterday. I grabbed task. And then I didn't do this. I added JDBC API later. I also did Postgres, which I think that's all I need. I don't think I needed this one. And I added test containers because test containers are awesome. I also did Zipkin, which may or may not be necessary. I added the Graal VM stuff, of course, because we're going to do all the Graal VM stuff. Pink Emma, wonderful. How are you doing? Well, Mr. Grunt, we meet again. Like, fantastic. Do you hear your name every time that I hesitate about doing anything with credentials? Do you hear me saying, Pink Emma better not be there? And I'm doing the move. I'm glad you're here. What else did I do? I think these are the things that I added. But we can go look, right? I did this just minutes ago, right? We can see it was 43 minutes ago is when I initialized this project. I don't think I need this, to be honest. But I added the Zipkin, I added the starter task, Postgres, test containers. Test containers are my friend. The Graal VM, and then I modified things, right? I took out some things and I replaced it. So after I did the initializer stuff, I did the initializer plus stuff. That's my conventions. I gave it my naming conventions. I added my README file. I added my builder so I can do multi-architecture builds. I gave myself the ability to distinguish between different architectures. And then I created also some manifests that allow me to do the builds in GitHub and CircleCI. What I didn't do. this is the thing that I forgot to do yesterday, is I need to go over to Circle CI and I need to log in. Pink Emma, don't watch. And I'm old school, so I log in with GitHub. And I need to go to my project, not this project. I need to go to my Java Grunt project, this one. And I need to make sure that that project, not this one, projects, right? I got a new one there. I need to make sure that that project is configured. I'm always there, lurking, waiting for those tokens. Yeah, I know about the whole like Christmas. I gained 8 pounds over the week or so that I was gone. I understand that. Credentials too. Not picky. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. We're not going to add this one. We're going to add com Java Grunt task YouTube, and let's set it up. And we're going to do this on main, and from that we should be good to go. So it's ready to go. It's not going to build anything yet, because one of my conventions is it's going to look for a version. It's going to look for that version tag in order to have a release. But now it needs to know what it does. Set up configuration to start. What do you mean? I already did that. Wait, what? I did it. Isn't that what I just did? Main. Set up project. There. Wait, that was weird. Oh well. So here we are. We're good. We're updated. I'm gonna switch this view, and I'm actually gonna make this a little bit easier to read for me. And I think I want this one. There we go. The code is the more important thing. So now we've got Circle CI set up. We've got our GitHub Actions set up. We've got our project. We've got it initialized, and we got it initialized plus. And those are the things that we did to start, and that's where we're at. Oh, nope, that's not where we're at, because after I did that, after I built the project, I was over here, and I was looking. We're using version 3.0.3. Now, here's what happened. I think what I heard yesterday from Glenn was that he's working on the new version of Spring Cloud Task. Who knows what's happening? So what I want to do, I kind of want to just peek. I went through this reference guide and I read the documentation and I'm doing the stuff. I said, hey, now I know if I've got questions, I can do it here. But I can report bugs. What I did as I was reading through this, I kind of read quickly. I browsed, I perused. At some point, I'll have CI for work, but we have so many legacy projects. Oh, I get it. I get it. I get it. I read through this stuff to get an understanding. Like, so in my head, Spring Cloud Tasks is for those things that they're short-lived. Like they might be scheduled, like, hey, go do this thing and then be done. Where Spring Batch is the same kind of thing. Go do this thing. But Spring Batch might be a long-running thing. And Spring Batch has the things like, hey, I got jobs and steps and I got maybe some interesting logic and retry stuff. Spring Task is like, go do this thing. Did you work or didn't you? That's kind of the way it is in my head. So the thing that I was planning on doing as a Spring Batch, which was really just tiny, I said, hey, let's flip it and let's use Spring Cloud Task. So that's where we're at. We're going to do something with Spring Cloud Task. So I went through this and I read the requirements and hey, yeah, Java 17 and database requirements. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to go into details. I think the docs need to be updated. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for telling me where you're from. Fantastic. And good morning. Right. Good evening and good morning. I'm so grateful that you are here. Absolutely grateful. Here we are. We're talking about Spring Cloud Task. I read the database requirements. I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't see my favorite database in there, but that's okay, right? We can't all win, and I can use other databases. By the way, is Jenkins still good for new Java projects? I'm pretty sure that Jenkins is still the champion. I'm pretty sure Jenkins is still the champion. That's what we're going to see the most of. So yeah, I think that that's still a safe bet. You're going to find a lot of easy things. You're going to find a lot of support, a lot of pipelines, a lot of plugins and things around Jenkins. So yeah, I think you're safe with Jenkins. Now, is that what I'm going to use? No, I won't use Jenkins. I will lean into something slightly different. But Jenkins is still super solid. And there's like, if you don't want to deal with the Jenkins infrastructure, there's CloudBees, there's SaaS services, at least one, that will run your Jenkins for you and make sure that you're keeping your Jenkins updated. Hello. So answer that one. Here we go. Good afternoon from Brazil. Good afternoon. Which is your favorite database? I missed that information. My favorite database is Redis. I used to work at Redis. I'm a big fan. I like Redis a lot. I like speed. I do a lot of things on the edge. Let me reintroduce myself. Maybe you're new. I should probably add that. Maybe I should put this here and say, hey, also, my favorite database is Redis. There we go. Hey, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. This is wonderful. I really enjoyed watching your stream. For those of you, let me figure this out. Hold on. I'm learning my etiquette. If I go to twitch.tv, I'm going to do a shout out. I'm going to do a shout out. Oops, we're seeing an echo. Oh, that's poor taste. Let me fix that. Boom. All right. So now I'm over here and I do /shout out. And I don't know how to say it. Soitio, Soitio. I didn't really get the pronunciation yesterday, but I really enjoyed your stream. I really enjoyed how you were thinking out loud. I enjoyed watching you go through your process. Even though I was watching you were on this screen, I was on this screen. And remember what I was doing was I was working through, and it's not up anywhere. I was working through getting Confluent up and running. I did my Confluent Kafka. I use Kafka Cloud, and they have a free tier, $400 free tier, 30 days that you can go and try out Kafka on a SaaS, as a SaaS, so you can stand up all sorts of fun things. So I did this shout out. I'm super happy that you're here. Thank you for joining. And here's what we're doing. I'm a Spring Developer Advocate. This is the stuff that I talk about. The question was asked, what's your favorite database? Mine's Redis. I like Redis a lot. I don't have all the answers, keep me honest. And today I'm talking about Spring Cloud Task. Oh, I'm glad that you're here. So I knew this was gonna work out, and I'm thinking that maybe, I think you said Monday, Wednesday, Friday is your stream. Remind me when you're gonna stream, because if it's today, look at this. Simon is here. Simon's here. I'm super happy that you're here. And for those of you that don't know, like this is the thing that I'm working on in the background. I'm a big fan of Vaadin. Simon is also a big fan of Vaadin. And this is kind of I'm gonna make a UI for all of these YouTube integration things that we're doing these days. And today we're doing Spring Cloud Task. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much for joining. And Tukes, thank you for introducing me, because I only stopped on that stream because I saw you on that stream yesterday. So thank you for making that introduction. You made it a friendly, welcoming place to come in, and it was a definitely worthwhile stream to watch. Even though we weren't using my favorite framework, it was still fun to watch, and it's still informative. I like the way you thought through things. And I had to leave early for meetings. Did you make progress? Like, fill me in. Did you make progress beyond what I saw? So yeah, appreciate you. This is great. Teamwork makes the dream work. Today we're talking about Spring Cloud Task. I believe that Spring Cloud Task is taking some upgrades. I did some work here 53 minutes ago where I just kind of initialized a project, and then I did my initializer plus that gives the additional conventions. I set up my pipelines so that you have an example of how I build pipelines. A reminder, I like to put things on Raspberry Pi and on the edge. So I put these little devices in places. And the way that I build my images is I create a manifest on top of the native images. So I'm only building native images. I'm not building JVM images because because this is a Raspberry Pi 02 and this only has 512 megabytes of memory. And you can't do a whole lot on that with the JVM. So what I do is in my pipelines, I have one pipeline that is over here on Circle CI. It uses ARM64, and that's going to build a native image, ARM64 native image. And then in GitHub, it builds an x86 native image. And then in Docker Hub, public, you'll be able to grab it in Docker Hub when whatever platform you're on. If you're on M1 or a Raspberry Pi and you ask for this image, or it'll be deshawn.com.javagrunt.task.youtube, latest. If you're on an ARM64, you'll get ARM64. If you're on an x86, you'll get the x86 version, but you'll ask for the same image manifest, and Docker will give you the right version. And we're doing this part, the native images, we're using GraalVM. And that's how we're doing it. So we're getting a much smaller footprint and we're able to do some cool things. So yesterday there was another, and I haven't done this in a while. So let me just jump real quick. Yesterday, somebody asked about like how to do upgrades, and I figured let's do that. So we're talking about Spring-Led Task, but I'm going to take a 5-minute move, and I'm going to show a demo. I use Open Rewrite. Open Rewrite is a framework for writing recipes, and those recipes are Java programs that know how to upgrade and convert, not just upgrade, but modify code. So I'm going to run this little demo, and I'm going to let it autoplay. I think it's on autoplay. So we're going to start with Java 8. Look at it, even have it in here. Like, I have jokes. Don't do this at home. So then we're going to clone Spring Boot 1.5, which is really old. Again, don't use 1.5. So we're going to clone that because you can't build one new today, but we're going to clone one that I have existing. And then we're just going to run it. We're going to run that program. It's going to run. It's going to do things. It's going to start up. And so it's just hello Spring. It's just hello. So Java 8, Spring Boot 1.5, like ancient stuff. But we're going to make sure, hey, it's up and running. It works. So we check the health endpoint and it works. We also captured how much memory it's using. 361 megabytes. You can't put a bunch of those on 512 megabytes of RAM, right? When you consider your operating system. So let's go. We're done. We're done with that. Stop it. Now we're going to upgrade to Spring Boot 3.2. We're going to run this command, this recipe that says upgrade to Spring Boot 3.2. It knows it's going to scan and pull down all of its stuff. It knows how to go from ancient Spring Boot 1.5 that was using Java 8 to go to Spring Boot 2.0 to 2.1 to 2 all the way up to 3.2. It's a nested set of recipes, and you can see that here. It goes all the way up, runs the recipes in the order that it needs to run them. And then it says, hey, we're done. We're on 3.2. So now you got to move to at least Java 17, but let's use Java 21. Java 21 is already middle-aged. It's been out for over 3 months. Java 22 is right around the corner, but we start our application. We're on now 3.2.1, and it started up a little bit faster. And this is on the same machine that all my other stuff is running. So my stream is running, my IDE is running, all this stuff is running on the same machine. But now we even got the new actuator health endpoint, and it's still up. And look at, we saved some memory. So now I can fit 2 of those on one of these. I can fit 2 of these, even with the JVM, I can fit 2 of those on one of these. But let's stop, because that's not good enough. So the question here is, so it's doing a lot of reflection. Yeah, maybe. It's hard to say. Oh, I didn't want to do this one. So I wanted to run a different one. So anyways, we can see the startup time improved. In the cloud, you're paying per millisecond. That's a big improvement. And we show the footprint savings. Cool. But this isn't the thing I wanted to do. So now I want to go in here and I want to do one more thing. I want to do MVNW because I'm on Spring Boot 3. I want to do native : compile. This is going to take a minute. it's going to do, well, why did it say that? Oh, because I didn't, let's do SDK use Java 2021.0.1 dash crawl CE. Maybe that's all I need. So now we're doing the things, and we're going to go and we're going to do all of the AOT processing. It's going to look at every branch of that project that used to be Java 8, used to be Spring Boot 1.5. It's going to look at all the code, which there wasn't anything. It was just a web and actuator. There was nothing else. It's going to look at all the code, and it's going to throw away the stuff it doesn't need. And it's going to optimize the stuff that it does need. It's going to optimize it to, right now I'm on ARM64 in Darwin. So the output is going to be for ARM64 in Darwin. And it's going to take, I got a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to guess it's going to take 1 minute and 12 seconds because of all the other stuff that's going on. The music and the streams and a bunch of the stuff. I got a bunch of tabs open. So I'm going to guess 1 minute and 12 seconds. But this is an example. This is one of the trade-offs of the AOT stuff. You don't want to do this in your inner loop. You don't want to do this every time you want to run your test. You don't want to do the native compilation stuff. Put that in your pipelines, just like I did. And I gave you examples of how to do it for ARM and how to do it for x86. And then I'm also showing you how to glue them together so you can just have one. So here I'm not building a container. I'm just building the statically linked native binary. And I'm guessing that's at 1 minute, 12 seconds. That's my guess. I do this demo a lot. But yesterday somebody was asking, like, how do you upgrade? Well, there's a lot of cheat codes. Oh, 1 minute and 20 seconds. Oh, 1 minute, 12 seconds here, but total time. So, hey, I was right, I was wrong. But now I have this statically linked Hello Spring. Boom, it started up in 0.081 seconds. So the same thing, the same application is up and running 0.081 seconds. And if I open up another terminal, file, new tab, I didn't run in the background. And that is purely for Emma. If I do http colon 8080/actuator/health, I will see that, hey, it is indeed up and running. Oh, and then if I do this last thing, that 14450, like, it started up faster. What's the command that I use? Fun, Deshaun, open rewrite upgrade, cat demo. What's the one that I use? I say this. Where is it? I'm trying to find out, how do I find the memory? Oh, I don't have it in this one, that's why. Where's the memory usage? This right here. I do this command because I want to show you how little memory it's using. So I'm gonna do this. Apologies. This is not, I didn't do the, it would have been better to just go run the other demo. But I'm gonna do this real quick. That and this process ID, I'm gonna switch out. The process ID is this 14450. 14450. So that's the number, but I have to take that number and I have to do this. I have to change the scale. So that number, ooh, hello. I have to do this, change 1120. Oh, this. That's not right. I did something wrong. Anyways, it uses a lot less memory. Here, I'm gonna do this one. Open rewrite, Spring Boot upgrade example. There it is. Because I want to show this. I want to show like how awesome it is. Nope, demo. And this whole thing, I'm not going to talk through it. It's going to take 5 minutes. But this is how you upgrade. These are one of the easy ways to do the upgrades. And then I'll get back to it. Then I'll get back to Spring Cloud. This one's upgrading from Spring Boot 2.6, so it's going to go a tiny little bit faster. Because it doesn't have to do the 1.5 to 2.0 to 2.0 to 2.1 to 2.2 to 3 to 4. So it's going to go a little bit faster. Like fractions of a second. But somebody asked yesterday, I literally show this demo. Oh, I didn't stop this other one. I'm such a rookie. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. It's early. It's morning. I need some caffeine. But don't use Java 8. Don't use Java 8. Upgrade to Java 21. And as soon as you can, upgrade to Java 22. We're starting things. It's going to start up. We'll capture all the numbers. We're just going to let this run. I do it so many times that I've automated the whole process, but you can go and we can step through all the steps. Actually, I'll show you the repository. These are here, GitHub. If you want to see examples of these, they are here. These upgrades, right? Here's one where I show things being deployed to Cloud Foundry and how much you can save there. So yeah, I got old stuff. This is the one I'm running right now. So if you want to take this for a spin and see how much you could save, the funny thing is like on different machines, that you're going to get different outcomes, and running at different times, you're going to get different outcomes depending on how fast your machine is. But this is running in the background, and you heard the beep just like I did. So there's some other screen somewhere where there's a message that I got to go and make sure that my coworkers are getting their questions answered. So let me see where it is. I don't know where it is. There's a lot of things here, and I'm looking, and I don't know where it is. I don't think I know where it is. Oh, here we go. Oh, it was a message from Glenn Renfro, who said he would love to jump in, but he's busy, and that's okay. That's okay, right? Like we have real work, and he's working on this, and he's the reason why we're talking about this today. So this is going to go. We'll get the output, but it's doing the same thing. We did the upgrade. We started with something old. We upgraded so we can have something new, and now we're doing the AOT processing. It's still going to take. Here's a question. I am still using Grails for one of my old projects. That's okay. Grails it works, right? And you know, another project, I think it's based on Grails, still using Spring, but Grails is Rundeck, right? This is a project that I use. I like Rundeck, and I think that's a Grails app under the covers. So yeah, like, I get it, it works. I mean, I'd want to upgrade it at some point, but yeah. Now, here's the interesting thing. You say with Java 8, here's an interesting question is, can you upgrade it to use Java 11, 17, 21? I don't know if Grails has dependencies that can't be upgraded using the old naming things, but that's something I would love to hear about. I'd love to find out about, because for most things, for a lot of things, I won't say most, for a lot of things, just by switching to Java 21 from Java 8, you're going to find a big performance improvement. And I show that here. Look at this. It's only 83.7 megabytes. That same Hello World application is running 83.7 megabytes. I can fit a bunch of those on here. That's the whole thing. So the Spring Boot 3.2 with Java 8, it was running 365 megabytes. Upgrading to Spring Boot 3.2 with Java 21, that was a 41% savings. And it started up faster. So if you're running in the cloud, you're saving. But then if you go to and you do the AOT processing, like I do here, like that's what my pipelines are doing. They're using the AOT processing and they're squeezing everything out of it. It gets all the way down to 83.7 megabytes. That's a 78% savings. So if you're, this is the joke, right? If you're the person that goes into your company and you're able to do an upgrade and get something to this level where you can do the AOT compiler, you can get it running in production and it meets all of your expectations. If you're the person that can go in and save your company 78%, right? Because this is usually the big number. If you can save 78% on your applications, you might get a pat on the back. You might even get cookies for you and your team if you can go in and save 78% on your infrastructure cost. I'm just throwing it out there. Like that's, again, it's a joke, right? But it's real. Like companies are, this is why people are so excited to upgrade to Spring Boot 3.2 and Java 21. And 22 is right around the corner. Is because they can get these massive savings on their infrastructure. So the question then is, if it is so easy to upgrade to the newest, why a lot of companies still working with Java 8? I don't get why they don't upgrade. I don't either. I don't either. So it's not always easy, right? Here's the thing. Somebody in the company likes to say, hey, and again, I draw these pictures all the time. Like all of your stuff, it's not going to be a normal distribution, but you're gonna have some stuff. If you take all the applications that are running on Java 8 and Spring Boot, or even not, like all the applications that are running on Java 8 or older. So I'll be honest, like in the last 2 years, 746 days, I have worked with companies that are still using Java 5. Right? Upgrading can be easy. I think that most of your applications are going to upgrade easy. At least the Java version, right? At least the Java version. The Java version is going to give you a bunch of performance improvement. And if you don't, you're just leaving money on the table. There's going to be a bunch that are easy. There's going to be some that are hard. And a lot of times, Tukes, you're going to find, oh, well, we can't upgrade to Java 21 because this one application that's over here, this one right here, this one application has a thing that can't upgrade to Java 21. So let's just not upgrade any of the other applications to Java 21 or Spring Boot 3.0 or fill in the blank. But this is the picture I draw. Who knows what the real picture looks like. But you're also, if you're doing this across all of your applications, you're going to find there are some that not worth investment. There's some applications that are running in production. Some of you know where they are, that are just like, they're just running, but they're not providing any value. They're just eating up RAM, eating up disk, eating up process, eating up network. You're going to find those. But a bunch of them are easy. So what I say, Tukes, Harpreet, what I say is go upgrade as many of these projects as you can, because you're going to find savings, some level of savings. And you're probably going to be more secure on top of that. But the future that I picture, the future I want to be a part of, is where I don't have to like stop the world and do these things manually. Where I want to be is that thing that I wrote 5 years ago. When I go and look at it today, I want to just go into my repository and I just want to see that it's been upgraded. It's running on the latest and greatest. And actually, I'm gonna share a link. I'm not gonna show it. I'm gonna share a link as soon as I find it, because this link is where I want you to be. It's the thing that I want for you, and that's what I titled the link, the clip. I want you to watch this. This is what I want for you. This is what I want for you. Here it is. All of you. This is what I want for you. So I put the link out there. Hopefully you can copy and paste it from the chat. It's in both the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat. I should make it a short link, but this is what I want for you. It's this video. And this is from SpringOne, and it's a large company on the latest, greatest version. For their flagship application, they're on the latest and greatest version. That's what I want for you. I want you to not be like N-1. I want you to be like days behind, only because that's how long it takes your CI/CD process to go, or minutes behind. Like, I don't want you to be versions behind, right? So that's what I want for you. Latest Groovy 4 requires only supports Java 16, and I'm using Groovy 3. Oh, okay. So let's do a quick jump, right? So these are the kinds of conversations that I like to have, and I'm gonna remind, like, I don't have a schedule here. Like, I'm not gonna be late on anything. So your questions that you bring, that's the number one priority for me today, is like answering these kind of questions. And hopefully I've got a little bit of experience, right? I just have to be a little bit further ahead to help pull you ahead. So yeah, ask questions. Right? Just a reminder to everybody, ask questions. over here, open rewrite. This is a repository that has a bunch of recipes. So if I look for Groovy, no, I'm gonna look for Grails. Well, so I don't see any recipes for Grails, but there is recipes here for Groovy. And it looks like there's only a format. Well, that's no good. Okay, so there's not a lot of Groovy recipes. Move a closure, stylized Groovy. Sorry. But if there was a recipe, this is where they would be. This is the place where I would go look. This is what I do. When I'm trying to upgrade things, this is where I go. It's amazing. It's an amazing resource. And I'm surprised that more people don't know about it. Because the thing that I just did, if I go up here to Java and then to Spring, the thing I just did in that demo was I ran this recipe right here. Migrate to Spring Boot 3.2. This is the recipe, this one right here. Like, let's jump back. If I scroll up, I can't scroll up. Anyways, that's the recipe that I ran. I'll show you. If I cat my bash profile pipe grep spring cubed. Let me do that one more time. This is the recipe that I run. Upgrade Spring Boot 3.2. I have it set as an alias because I run it all the time. So I can just, like, in whatever project I'm in, I do Spring Cube, like upgrade to Spring Boot 3.2. And I get to the latest version of Spring Boot 3.2. So I've been using this recipe. I ran upgrade Spring Boot 3.1 for a long time. I ran upgrade Spring Boot 3.0 for a long time. But then inside of this recipe, there's the nested recipe. It says, oh, if you're at 3.0, you got to run 3.1 and then 3.2. So that's cool. Now, Miguel, only changing Java version. What's the question? Like, fill me in there. I might have missed where that question came in at. But I wanted to show that demo. Somebody asked yesterday, and I just want to show, like, you can upgrade a bunch. You can get a ton of value by upgrading, and I want you to upgrade. I want you to be on the latest and greatest. So now I'll jump back. But Miguel, if you wouldn't mind, like, ask your question again, and I'll try to give you a good answer. So here's the repo. I want you to watch the video because that's where I want you to be. And actually, I'm gonna tweet that out, that video, if I can find it again. I'm gonna tweet that out because it's inspiration. Like, I'm on this side. It's where I want you to be. I'm gonna share that again. So let me, what's the Twitter? This is it. This never gets old. Like, I'm never gonna not want this. I want this for you. And your work, and your work. Boom. Post. Make it happen. Yes, that's it. That's what I want. I want you to be on the latest and greatest versions. I want you to have that. So I'm showing all the things. I'm showing what's possible, I guess. So let's keep on going. So we're back. I did a little jump off to talk about upgrades. Glenn says he wishes he could be on, but he's got meetings. So we went through the docs. We went through the getting started. We talked about, hey, there's got to be a database. I'm using test containers so that I have the database all set up. I don't think that I need this. As I was reading this, right? Like, some of these docs, like, hey, in the initializer, when I go and I say JDBC, there's two options that it could be. It could be the JDBC API. It could be Spring Data JDBC. So I wrote notes. And again, this is kind of what I would expect you to do. Like, when you read documentation and it doesn't quite make sense, or maybe it feels like it's outdated, like, make a note of it. So this is how I'm doing it. I'm making a note of these things, right? That JDBC dependency, is it JDBC API or Spring Data JDBC? But then also there was another one where I was like, as we go down here, and it's not a big issue, but it's a difference. We're running the application runner there. And here we say command line runner. we didn't. So the documentation doesn't match the example. So I just make a note of it. This is open source. Spring is open source. So this is an opportunity for me to go and make a PR, or you. I mean, if you beat me there, like fantastic. I'd be super happy to see that too. I can go and make a PR to just update some docs. Make it so it's not confusing to somebody else. They're going to be like, what? Command line runner? Where do we use command line runner? We didn't use command line runner. What does this mean? Right? So, or maybe you don't see that, but I want to just clean up the docs, make it so there's no questions. The docs are more important today than ever before because of AI, right? Because now we've got these systems that are going in and reading the docs, and now they're generating code for us. If I go from this version of docs compared to the last version of docs, I can figure out like, hey, what's changed? What changed in the documentation? What are things I need to be doing now that I didn't need to do before? So the documentation that we put out is more important today than it ever has been before. So a contribution like this, like a command line versus an application runner, like that's going to be huge. That's going to make it so that the AI that's reading these docs doesn't get confused, and it doesn't confuse the other people that are consuming from that AI. So these little changes, to me, feel really, really important, and I'm happy to do that. So I made some notes as I was going through this. So we did these things. And, sorry, I'll go back. I was reading through the docs. I implemented this. I added this to my application. So I was over here. I added it to my application, and I did a couple of other things. I changed some conventions. I changed my application name from YouTube application to just application. Again, that's just a convention that I like to follow. So I have my application, and I have a test application, and my application tests. So I added the little Hello World application runner implementation. Here it is. And all we're doing is Hello World. That's what I've done. So this is a task. This is a project that will start. It'll do its job, say Hello World, and then it'll stop. But the cool thing about task is it's doing a bunch of other stuff. It's auto-configuring a bunch of other stuff here around the task lifecycle. So if you continue to read what you're these are the things that have stuck with me when I read this earlier, the things that you're gonna read, and I just read this earlier today. So in order to save money and memory, upgrade the Java version. Yes. And that's at the bottom. That's the minimum thing, is you're going to get better performance. There's a company that streams video, not like this. They have like movies and shows that you might have heard of called Netflix. I think I'm saying it right, Netflix. And they're going through this, and they've been doing this for a while, and they use Spring. And one of the things that they've said on a video, and actually I could find that video, is it was a essentials video, Spring One Essentials, Netflix. Let me find it. But what they basically said was they saw a 20% performance improvement from between the different LTS versions of Java. So from 8 to 11, from 11 to 17, 17 to 21. They're seeing 20% performance improvement. So not memory, like latency, like calculation, performance improvement between each of those versions. And depending on your scale, that's massive, right? So I'm talking about memory. These are like low bars. Like if your company could use a 20% performance improvement in their data, like would that save your company a boatload of money? I know that this one would. I know that your infrastructure costs, that kind of savings is going to work. But there's trade-offs. Like we have more things that we need to consider when we take things to production today. Excuse me. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Upgrade Java. You will get better memory usage, better performance. And then as a developer, you're going to get access to all the other improvements that the JVM provides, that the Java language has provided. Here, Harpreet says, I will be happy to see you adding PR to Spring Cloud documentation live. Well, let's do. Okay, that's great. So let's do. So let's go. Again, this is how we roll. So the cool thing about spring.io, this is all open source stuff, right? It's been around for over 20 years. Like, how many open source projects have made it for 20 years? Not a lot. Not a lot. Oh, I heard a beep. I don't know where it came from. Sorry, I got to scan. I got to make sure that I got to take care of my people. So apologies. You heard it too, right? Everybody heard that beep in my ear? That was a message from one of the other places where I got a message, I got a ping, and I don't know what it means. Oh, there's another one. I'm in the right spot. Okay, perfect. All right. It was just inform, nothing I need to do. So Spring, open source, 20 years. Like, heck yeah. Spring Boot, 10 years. Yeah. Like, let's go. So let's, in case you were wondering, github.com spring-projects. This is where most things live. Now, all right, sorry about those beeps, but I got to hear them, and I got my headphones on, and I'm sorry that you have to hear them too. I got to keep my job. So we can look through, we can see all the things. I think that Spring Cloud is actually a different set. Spring Cloud, yeah, it's over here. So what we're looking at is Spring Cloud Task. So let's see if we can find Spring Cloud Task. There it is, Spring Cloud Task. So this should, let's go. So here's my default thing is we're looking at some docs. Now, I don't know which docs. Here's 3.1.0, the latest from last month. But I don't know which version of the docs I'm looking at. Let's see if we can figure it out up here. 3.0.3. So I have questions, but we'll keep on going. Here's what I'm gonna do. So I see that we've got stuff. I see that I have the right repository. So the first thing I'm gonna do is fork it. 305 forks. It's open source. This is like, there's so many people contributing to this that's absolutely amazing. I'm concerned that the number of stars on this project is not higher. Because if there's 305 forks, there's people that's at least 305 people that have found this as a valuable place to go. And that there's only 394 stars. I encourage you, if you're having any fun at all today, I encourage you to go give a star over here to Spring Cloud Task. This is what we're doing today. And what we did, which I didn't go through and read the docs. I gave you the short version. I showed you like, hey, you can get started. And I showed you, here's the task. Actually, let me go and commit my changes. So those are the changes that I did since this morning, right? The repository is here. This is my example, right? If you just want a shortcut cheat code, here, I put that in the chat. You can go and you can do PRs to my project as well. Here's what we're doing, and we're just getting started. We've done a Hello World task. An hour ago, I did the initializer. I did the initializer plus that gave it my extra stuff. And now I'm just gonna commit this so you have that change as well. Get status, we made our stuff. We made sure that it worked. Git, add those things, get status. So all we did was, what did I change in the POM? Oh, I added the Spring Data JDBC, which I don't think I need, but I'm gonna leave it there anyways. I renamed the application. I added some application properties, my debug, and I gave it a name. And yeah, and I just renamed some files. That's it. And I added the hello world part. So here we are. I added the hello world part. That's what we've done. So git add dot, oh, I did that, git commit hello world git push. So now you've got all of the code. You're able to go and pull this down and be exactly where I'm at. Well, I kind of like walk through. I'm introducing you to Spring Cloud Task. Spring Cloud Task, short-lived processes that you might schedule. So the one thing is, on my YouTube feed, I'm streaming on YouTube. On my YouTube videos, this is the URL that I would go, and I could get a feed of like, I think it's the last 30 days of all the videos. So this is something that it's not a streaming use case. It's not really a batch use case because it's 10 entries, 20 entries, 15 entries. Short-lived. Like it's going to pull down, not even a megabyte, I don't think. It's going to go pull down some data and then throw some stuff into a database. Short-lived task. Doesn't need the retry, fail, batch type of functionality. It's a little bit smaller. So in my head, Spring Cloud Task is the thing. I want to go and do a thing. I want to kick off. I want to send a tweet. I want to connect and do things. I want to send a tweet every hour. Boo. That doesn't need to be a batch job. But it's something that I could chain together. Hey, go call this other thing. Spring Cloud Task. So I'm making a distinction between Spring Cloud Task, short-lived, easy peasy. I talked about its application lifecycle. So the beans are loaded. That's when we start the application runner, and it's going to keep track of start, stop, and the exit codes. And you can make modifications, but that's like simple case. It's providing not just a way to go and run Java code, but it's providing the production ready features that you want around something that you run as a cron job. Did it work? When did it run? How long did it take to run? Those kind of things are captured automatically. And I'll show the other cool thing. I was embarrassed that this is Spring Boot 2.0.3. I was embarrassed. So another good question. Which of your website is entirely hosted on Raspberry? So everything right now. So most things. So I've got things that are, if it's not a GitHub Pages, so I don't need to host static stuff on my Raspberry Pi. So what I've done is I take the gateway approach. So all the requests are going to come into my data center, my home, for everything. So let's show what that looks like. And again, I am happy to jump off. So we're gonna do the PR, but I'm happy to jump off for all the questions. Right? So the PR is the number one question. So I've got these clusters, and if you've been around, I have a thing called Cloudflare D that opens up a two-way street to Cloudflare, and it says, hey, javagrunt.com is running here. So javagrunt.com is running on this laptop now. It'll move to the Raspberry Pis when I'm done messing with it. That'll be production is over there. Right now, this is more like a dev stage, pre-prod, alpha, whatever you want to call it. But it's running Kubernetes. And inside of that, this is what we did on Tuesday. We said, hey, I want a gateway. So that all the traffic that comes to javagrunt.com comes into this gateway, and then that gateway has routes where it decides where it wants to send traffic. Service A, service B. Yeah, or one of the routes. Actually, I'll do it this way. Is it goes like this. It goes, hey, over here to Java Grunt. Is it javagrunt.github.io? Right, I think that's the Java Grunt static page. So let's go take a look where javagrunt.github.io. There it is. So that's the backing static site. That's just GitHub Pages. But in order to get there, you go to javagrunt.com, which hits my gateway, which takes a little bit of time to stand up. And then it routes that traffic over to javagrunt.com or to the GitHub Pages. That's what happens. But all the services, all the anything else, I don't have cloud money. I have Raspberry Pi money. So anything that's running anywhere else, it's all just on Raspberry Pis, but not all just Raspberry Pis. Raspberry Pis, lay potatoes, Nooks, like, yeah, it does. It feels fast, right? So a little, in the 90s, I know that some folks here were just babies in the 90s. But in the 90s, I started a company called OpenJack. Open source, all the way back in the 90s, OpenJack. I started this company, openjack.com, and I ran it out of my house. For a while, I had a data center in my house. I don't mess with that anymore, but it's still fun, right? It just sits there. Half my customers were nonprofit, but it was just, I was open source jack of all trades. It was just open source software is what I was helping people with. Standing up websites, standing up e-commerce sites, but I was really focused on the nonprofit, right? Where the Boys and Girls Club, they needed a website or they needed to sell their beanies for winter as a fundraiser. Like, I would help them do these little things using open source software. And a lot of times I just hosted it in my basement. It was checking a lot of the boxes. And there was a time where I had 3 T1 lines. Does anybody even know what a T1 line is? In my basement. What? A T1, 1.5 megabits up and down. And that was expensive. That was expensive to have 4.5 megabits coming, like guaranteed, like synchronous 4.5 megabits coming in on my house was expensive. But I had 20,000 domains. There's a lot of stuff coming in. There was a lot of equipment in my basement. My house was never cold. So I have some experience. So, hey, how come it feels so fast running in my home lab? Well, I've learned a few things over the years. And what I have coming into my house is I have a 2 GB. That's just crazy. I have 2 gigabits from AT&T coming in on one side of the house. And then coming in on the other side of the house. It's something like 1.2 Gbps from T-Mobile. So I've got fast, and I know how to do the networking, so it feels fast. So in my house, my wife also, she's right above me, and we both work from home. And ever since we moved into this house, I've always had 2 internets, because the worst thing, the most painful thing that I've ever heard is the internet is broken. The internet is broken. I don't paying the extra money to have this extra line, especially when we're both working from home, worth every penny. Now it's nice, it's a bonus, because my clusters, I get to run clusters that are over here on this line and clusters over here that are on this line. So let's take a look, right? If I go to CTX, I got these different clusters. So it's this one that's on, if I do kubectx cluster hat 00, you will see kubectl get nodes -o wide. You'll see that this is on a different subnet. It's a different physical network. Mrs. Grunt is not working in IT. Mrs. Grunt is in sales, not in IT. She could be, but I think maybe that might be too much. Hosting on Raspberry Pi is a great way to learn. I got really excited about it. It's been several years now. I was working with somebody, also from Africa, where power was an issue, right? Up, down, they didn't have a lot of power, but you could have a battery. A Raspberry Pi was something that you could power even through the brownouts. They could keep it powered. So the work that we were doing was on Raspberry Pi. It was on a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus that only had 512 megabytes of memory. And when that kind of hit, that there's still people wanting to learn and all over the place, Raspberry Pi became like really important. So, yes. Yeah, anyway, so it was nice. So I do a lot with Raspberry Pis, and it is a great way to learn. But this is an example of why I have these things. So I got one network here, and then if I come over to kubectl kubectx ARM64, this is like the production grade. And then I do kubectl get nodes. You'll see that these are on different physical networks. They are different. There's network segregation, so they don't touch each other. Those are the internal IPs, right? But there's no port forwarding either way. They're, no matter which network you're on, the only access in is through a Cloudflare D encrypted tunnel. So yeah, we have these options. So that was a good question. Hopefully that helped, and hopefully that makes sense why it might be fast. I promise you that the traffic, this is not a synchronous up-down over here. So when I do have to fail over, yeah, you'll see changes. But the nice thing about having the two networks is I can do interesting two network demos. I can do interesting things across networks, especially with Kubernetes, and Spring Boot makes it easy. Spring Cloud makes it easy. So that was those are great questions. And again, everybody, reminder, ask questions. So the nice thing about yesterday, and I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll have to watch the stream again. But yesterday, I went and watched Soitio. And I was still doing my work. He was doing his work. I was able to like listen and hear what he was saying, and then he would get to a point I was like, oh yeah, I agree. I like where your head's at. Do that. And that's all I want is like, I'm gonna do stuff, but I don't have a timeline. I'm working in open source. We're gonna create a PR, but if you've got questions, ask. That's what I'm here for. So Vladimir, hello. Tell my kids, tell my mom and dad where you're from. I appreciate you being here. We're doing stuff. What we're doing right now is we answered a couple of questions. We are talking about Spring Cloud Task. I went through the documentation. I was just reading the examples, and I found a couple of things that I thought might need to be upgraded. And Harpreet thought it might be a good idea. Like, it'd be fun to see, like, how do you make a PR for documentation? So let's just do it live. Jonas, I did see you here, and I'm glad that you're here. I'm not sure if I addressed you or not, but yes, I'm always glad to see you. Thanks for being here. So that's what we're doing. So now I went over here and I said, hey, we need to go, if you get a chance, if you're having any fun at all today, make me smile, go hit the star button. 394 is not enough, especially when there's 305 forks. So I'm going to make another fork, and I'm just going to put it into my personal one here. This is how I normally do things. Create that fork. I'm going to leave it as Spring Cloud Task. And I'm going to show you how I organize things. So while it's doing the fork, I think you may have seen this, but if I go to CD, it's my home directory, the things that I do now are fun. So I put everything to fun. And then inside of this directory, these are all GitHub orgs or GitLab orgs so that I know where things are. So these are all of the GitLab, or GitHub orgs. So this project that we forked, I will put it on my machine so that I know where to find it. I'll put it into Deshaun, Deshaun, Spring Cloud Task. So if I go into Deshaun, you'll see all these repositories exist or existed or started from something in my github.org/Deshaun. Cool. Or they were forks that I did a PR for, and they don't need them anymore. So now we're going to do is GitHub repo clone Deshaun/Spring Cloud Task, and I'm going to put that into this repository as well. So hey, we can see all the tasks, and we saw that our docs were version 3.0.3. They were right here. So 3.1.0. How do we find out when that got released? I like to use calendar.spring.io. Oh, There were some beeps that I didn't ignore or that I didn't look at. I'm going to just make sure that I'm not missing anything. All right, I have a message that I need to double check. I'm not even going to read it. I'm just going to leave it as unread so that I make sure to look at it later. I'm going to go look at my calendar. I think we're okay. I don't think I need to go to these other things. I think this is more exciting. So Spring Cloud Task had a release. Oh, we saw it over here. If I go back, I already did the fork, but Spring Cloud Task was last month. So it's a fairly recent release. So that's cool. That's expected. So maybe the documentation hasn't been pushed. Oh, the documentation, they're migrating to Antora. Again, documentation I think is the most important, or it's more important now than it ever has been before because of AI, because we've got all these tools that are reading our documentation to understand the software that we're pushing out. So it's more important than ever. And it will continue to be. So these little changes that we're going to do, now that I've got it checked out, I go like this, idea dot. Whoops, not there. Ooh, that's going to be a mess. I didn't need that. That opened up my whole Deshaun, all the stuff. But I want to go here. I'm going to go into Spring Cloud Task. And I'm going to do it from here. Now, yeah, I'm just going to open up this whole thing. I don't know anything about this project. I've never set foot in this project. But I know that there's some docs that I could maybe be updating. Now, am I in the latest and greatest version of the docs? I don't know. So let's take a look. Hey, so they're changing things to Antora. Here's the ASCII doc. Where I was, I'm in this Getting Started guide. Spring Cloud Task Reference Guide. So let's look for this. Let's see if we can find that. How's that? We're gonna see if we can find where we are. Oh, so there's a few. So I don't know which one to start with. This one looks right. This looks like the documentation that we're looking at. But that's just one piece. Okay, I'm gonna hit this button over here to like find it. Here's where we are. Is this the right code? So let's go to where let's find what we're actually looking for. So here's a good question. What is Antora? Harpreet is saying it's in the file Spring Cloud Task blob main docs. Look at this guy. Let me go there. Spring Cloud Task blob. I don't see a blob. I do see docs, modules, root, pages, getting started. Okay, that's where we are. Fantastic. So let's do that. This is like a preview mode. I'm gonna like not do the preview mode. I just want this regular. We don't have to take a look. What is this? It seems you're editing a document that's part of an Antora module. Do you want to learn more how this plugin can support you? Yeah, let's see. Because there's a question here, like what even is Antora? Let's see what's up. And that popped up over here. Working with Antora. Antora helps to write and publish documentation websites. It allows combining documentation from multiple repositories into a single website. Each documentation component contains an Antora.yaml file with a common directory structure with meta information about that component. Choose the operating system. Okay, so like, fantastic. There we go. Antora is a way to build documentation. And one of the features, one of the reasons that the Spring team is moving projects over to Antora is it makes it easier to search. One of the benefits we have that it's coming out is you can actually like go to version 3 of the documentation. Oh, I'm still on version 2. Let me go to version 2 of the documentation. And if you're using AI, you can compare version 3 versus version 2, and it's all published. So that's one of the reasons in searchable. Antora has made our projects easier to search. So that's one of the reasons why these projects have moved to Antora. Hopefully that says enough. Like, I don't know anything more than that. To be honest, I don't know anything more than that. But I do know that people that have been noticing the difference, people that are readers, and that's how they learn, they love the move to Antora. And we've got nothing but positive feedback. I've heard nothing but positive feedback on this move to Antora. So here we are. Now we know a little bit about Antora, and we think we found the stuff that we're looking for. We got our introduction. I'm gonna scroll down to where, hey, we saw this. The first one was around JDBC, the initializer. Here, this one. In the dependencies box, type JDBC and then select the JDBC dependency. I think what that means, again, in for this case that we're gonna use H2, I think that they mean JDBC API. So what would be smart is if I want to fix this documentation. So Harpreet, this is for you. This is what I want to do because I don't want to make any assumptions. What I want to do is Maven 3.2. I want to follow kind of the guidelines here, right? I'm going to grab task. I'm going to grab the JDBC API. So I'm going to say, hey, type JDBC and select the JDBC API. I think this is what it's saying. And then in the dependency, type H2. Select that. This is all that it's saying. So this is the documentation. Click generate project. So all we're going to do is this demo, save it. I'm going to go make sure that this works. That documentation change that I made, I'm going to go make sure that that works. Are you following? So I'm going to go over here. Actually, I'll do it right here. I'm going to unzip downloads, the demo.zip that I just did. And I'm going to go into demo. And all I'm going to do, I think this should work. mvnw spring boot run. This should start out. We didn't give it anything. Should you rename Cloud Task to only Task 2? Here. So, okay. So when we type in task, this is good. See, we're fixing the documentation, right? So why not just fix it? So let's take a step back. We can close this. We can close this. We can close this. We can close this. We don't need this right now. Here. So let's clean this up again. In the documentation, and hopefully this is like a benefit. I'm thinking out loud. I'm trying to write documentation. I'm trying to help the next person that comes along, and I think you are as well, right? So we're clicking on dependency, right? In the doc it says type task, and then select cloud task. So if I type task, yeah, task. It's got the Spring Cloud label on it. There's only one. So if I type task, there's only one to choose from, right? So that makes sense. Task. But you're saying is like, hey, select the task. Is it with the Spring Cloud label? But let's make sure. Better to be clear than to be unclear. But if you type task, there's only one there, right? So that's good. This is the one that was confusing because when I do this, that one made sense to me, right? There's only one option. But when I do this one, JDBC, This is the one that's the issue. When I type JDBC, I got a bunch of these. What does it mean? Right? It said JDBC, select the one. It says select the select the ISAM JDBC API. I think that's the right one. But before it was just saying JDBC. That's where I was confused. And I'm just trying to clarify. So this might add additional clarification. And there's no problem with having more clarification, right? There's no problem with having clarification. So I think that this is a good idea. Like, let's be consistent. If you type in these, like, hey, it's just saying, hey, here's what we're going to type in, but I want to be clear on which one here. That's what I'm trying. I hope that's enough. So let's go through and let's see if it works. Let's do this. Like, I don't have to do all the naming. We can figure that out. We can figure that out for sure. So we're going to do JDBC API, and then we're going to type H2. There's only one there. See, this says, or your favorite database. I don't know if that's the case. I think for the getting started, it shouldn't be or your favorite database, because I think later in this document, they are expecting you to have H2. So let's just keep on reading. So I like these changes. I don't know if I need this one. But I think I'm going to change this one too. H2 with the SQL label. I'm going to take this out. And so here's the thing. It's documentation. Does having that extra bit make this getting started guide easier for you or not? By taking that out, I can assume for the rest of the documentation that you're using H2 as your database. So I might get pushback. This is the thing with open source, is like my changes aren't going to, oh yeah, that's great. We love it. Merge. There's a process here. So Harpreet, like, I'm making a suggestion. And usually when this is the thing where I felt the Spring team made me feel, when I did something like this, when I created a PR, they made me feel like they were a part of my team. So when I made a contribution like this, automatically, I felt like the software that I'm using, that the Spring team, the engineers, I felt like they were a part of my team. It extended, right? We didn't get to have lunch together at that time, but I felt like the software that I'm giving feedback on in a PR or even an issue, right, is like, hey, help me. Like, I'm trying to go to production. I'm trying to fix these things. I want this clarification, even in the docs, right? So now, like, let's nitpick. Let's make sure that it's clear. Let's all, like, does this all make sense? We're talking about Spring Cloud Task. We found some things in the documentation. We're just going to try to make the documentation a little bit better, so that the next person that comes along we don't want questions. It's getting started. It should be like, yes, click, done, yes, go, voila, right? It should be like a demo. It should be that fast. It should be 5 minutes, 15 minutes tops. So let's see if we can do that. So I'm making some changes that I think is going to make it clear, and there will be a discussion about to accept them or not. So we click the generate project. We're going to unzip that one into our IDE. Fantastic. It's sitting right here. All right, let's just keep on reading. We need to update the generated application with the following content so that it launches a task. So source, here it is. Oh, so this is documenting what kind of source it is. So now here's the other one. If I go in and I add, right, it's not called Hello World application. It's called demo application. If I go in and I make the changes that it's looking for of adding at enable task. Oh, and I'm also going to have to add Oops. Hello. Where's my ID? There it is. I'm also going to have to add this import. If I go to make these changes, I'm just making the changes that the documentation is asking me to make. I'm going to add a bean. Cool. An application runner. Application runner. There's my main, and then here's my application runner. Okay, if I go do that, will it work? While it may seem small, quite a bit is going on. So we're going to read the docs. It's telling us more. Here's the versions. We can open the application properties in source main resources. Let's go ahead and do that. Set the application name and the logging level. So I'm just going to copy and paste this into application properties, just like I did, right? I'm going to go back and look over here. I did it, but I did it as application YAML, but all I did was logging in name. So here, we added that. Doesn't matter that it doesn't match. That's okay. DMOC, hi, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. We are updating some documentation. We're reading the documentation, and I found some discrepancies in the documentation, and I would like it to be better going forward. So we're going to go through here, and this is the other one that I found. When including Spring Cloud Task Starter dependency, auto configures, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. When our sample application runs, Spring Boot launches our Hello World command line runner. What? I don't remember doing a command line runner. Neither do you, because we didn't use command line runner. We used application runner. So, right, they're both runners, right? And this might be a nitpick, right? This is just like application, not line, runner. That's the other change. Right? So I'm going to do a Control F, look for command line runner. So this is in the documentation. It says, hey, you can use either one of the interfaces, but at some point the demo's changed from a command line runner to an application runner, and the documentation didn't match. So that's what we're fixing. So I'm going to make sure that we don't see any other example of the Hello World command line runner. All right, so now we can run the example. So if I go and run this example here, I expect to see, wait, where's the hello? Here it is, hello world, right? That's what I expect to see here in this little quick getting started. So if I do that, I'll do it this way. I'm gonna hit my terminal. I'm gonna hit Control C because I don't have any credentials that I need there. And I'm going to go into the demo that we just built and made. And I'm going to do the exact thing that we need to do. I'm going to make sure. See, it says MVN. I'm going to go ahead and do ./MVNW. See, is that? Because if you didn't have MVN installed, it's not going to run. But because you built this from the initializer, you have the MVN wrapper. Is that a nitpick? I think that this is the right way to do it. I'm going to make that change. And I might get pushback on it, but I'm going to make that change. So MVNW, Spring Boot Run. Is it going to run? Oh, I didn't select my JVM version. I think we should be okay. But we see it starts. Do you know how bad I want to modify this? Some of you will understand how bad I want to change this. And I want to copy, right? Like, look at this. Do you know how bad I want to change that? Really bad. Should I do it? Like, let me know. Like, I'll do it. Should I do it? Should I go and upgrade this output so that I'm no longer embarrassed to read the documentation and see this? And it's just a tiny change. And somebody's probably going to be like, why do it? Do it. I'm going to do it. All right. So in order to do it, I'm going to change. I'm going to use their same stuff. So here, let's go back and fix that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. That's all. I only needed one person to be like, yeah, do it. I'm that guy. Well, I'm going to do it. We're going to go and change it. We're going to fix that. Because, I mean, like, who wants to be like, I just got done doing a demo showing how easy it is to upgrade to 2024. It's 2024 right now. Really? Like, let's do it. Oh, here, look at this. At line 215, it should be application runner, not command line runner. On line 215. Yes. Yes, it should. See, it's little stuff like that, man. This is teamwork. This right here, this is open source. This is community. This is why I love our community. This is a great way to start the day. Harpreet, thank you. Fantastic. Like, we're doing it. So here we go. We did that. We did that. Oh, wait, we're just going to we're going to go and change this little thing. It's not going to take us that long to do. So here, we're going to go back up here. We're going to just make sure that we're checking all the boxes. I'm going to do this exact same thing. We're going to do it just one more time. It only takes us a couple minutes. We're going to go to the initializer. We're going to create a new Maven project with the group name of io.spring.demo. io.spring.demo. And artifact name of Hello World. In the dependency task JWT, we did that. Spring Maven. So here, in here, it did say, it mentioned Java 17. You need to have Java installed, Java 17. That's the system requirements. Java 17 are better to build. You need to have, oh, it says here to build, you need to have Maven installed as well. No, you don't. You have the Maven wrapper. Do we need that there? Like, hasn't the initializer always given us a wrapper on top of things? I don't think this is needed. Yeah, the way the example, but we're going to change the example. So can I take this out? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. I'm just doing it because that you don't have to do that. I don't want you to get to this line and say, oh, I got to install Maven. I don't know how to install Maven. I don't have Brew. I don't have apt. Like, well, how do I do that? Or I can't install Maven. You don't need to worry about that. But you do have to have Java. Like that we have to do it. Thank you. Like, let's go. You're right. You're right. Like I did, the way the example is written, we're going to fix it. We're making documentation changes to an open source project that I love. I'm happy to be inside of this project, and I'm happy to be getting, I'm normally that guy. This is, yeah, you should do that. You should buy that new car. I'm normally the guy. So Jonas, I can't wait till we get to have lunch together. And Harpreet and Pink Emma. Like someday. So we're getting feedback. Continue to read, continue. Let's go. So we're making that change. Use a relational database. We're going to have that. We're going to default to H2. We said, hey, don't just pick one. So we're going to do that simple hello world. We did our thing, right? Did I build it? Did I get it? Because I want to add, I want you to use Java 21. But I'm not going to make you use it. Like 17 or 21. I guess I don't have to say, but do jar file, like just make those changes. So I'm not going to add anything because right now it has to be 17 or 21. So those are the only options you get. You have to have Java 17 at least. So we're generating this project. Generate, we should have a hello world.zip, save. And then we're going to, not in this directory, we're going to say unzip the download we just add of hello world. That's it. Put that in here. Cool. We're in our documentation. We're in our IDE. We're writing the documentation. All right, let's open it up. Over here, hello world, source, main, Java. We have hello world application. Okay. And I can do this copy paste, right? Oh, but look at, no, I can't, because that's not what we told it, right? That's not the package that we told it. So that's also busted, right? This needs to be io.spring.demo, because that's what we told it to do up here. Oh, actually, we didn't tell it which package name to do, but that's the package name that you get by default. Where am I at? Initializer. Here, when we go to the initializer, again, when we're over here, the package name that we get, because we said io.spring.demo and artifact hello world, because we made those changes, the package name is now io.spring.demo.hello world. So we're going to make a change. Miguel, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is it. Like, we're doing this. So we're fixing all the documentation. And this is the nice thing. Like, this is understand. So yeah, let's scoot back. Understand. Here's where we're at. GitHub.com spring-cloud/spring cloud task. They're thank you for those of you that added stars, because just a minute ago it was 394. Oh wait, you know what? Look at this. Like, that's right. There should be more stars than that. But there's 307 people that have forked this repository, that have gone through this. There are at least 307 people that have forked it to either make a change for what they're doing, or to fork it and make contributions back to this project. That's amazing. All right, look at this. There are 49 contributors to this project. That is awesome. That's just amazing to me. And we're going to try. We're going to try to make a contribution. We're going to try to be part of the people that are making this. And of course, there's more, right? Of course, there's more people that are involved in this, but those are the ones that just have Git commits. So let's keep on going here. We did this. We changed it to IO Spring Demo. Task HTTP. Yep, we're good. So now that we're here, this is what it needs to be. io.spring.demo.hello world, right? Lowercase. That'll be right. And then I think I can take this and copy paste that whole thing, because we're in the right package. We have all of our imports. I should be able to do this and this. Everything should be good. Now, if I go into hello world, we made all the changes, and I do / again, like our documentation says, we made all the changes. Hello world, we're good. Keep going. Oh, the properties, we got to change the properties. Let's copy and paste the properties. Zoinkity zoink. Control C. Over to here. Application properties. We're validating the documentation, right, as we're making these changes. And we keep on going. When including Spring Cloud, it auto configures. We're good, right? In our demo, we use the embedded H2, right? Not choose your favorite. In our demo, we use the embedded H2 to record the results. This is not a practical solution. Here we go, we see it. However, for a quick getting started experience, we can use this in our example, as well as echoing to the logs. And that's what we did. We made that change with the logging. Later in this documentation, we can cover how to customize. Cool. Now, Spring Boot launches our Hello World application runner. Hello World application runner. Nice. And now puts our hello world message to the standard out. That'd be great. The main method, we're good. The application runner, right? We're in good shape. Any process, that's the note. All right, at this point, our application should work. Since the application is Spring Boot based, we can run it from the command line by using this. /mvnw spring boot run. And check this out. What did we capture? So in the docs, before they captured the Maven output here, and then they got the Spring logo with the release and the info. Oh, look at it was Glenn's MacBook Pro. Yep, we're good. Glenn did all the work, and we see his directory, and that's fine. I might copy and paste so it says Glenn Renfro still. But hey, here's the Hello World application, right? io.spring.demo, right? And we're good. And then it shows all the stuff. Oh, yeah, there's going to be some changes here. But again, we don't want the 2018. This is the main thing. I want to copy all the stuff, and he stopped. So he stopped here after the line after Hello World. So he didn't grab all of this stuff. He didn't grab the build success. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy all this, right? I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put that output here. And the main reason is I kind of want to do this because there's also some Maven log output at the end. Does that make sense? So now it says, I kind of want to replace Deshaun with Glenn. Wait, what was it before? Glenn's MVP. Wait, where did it say Glenn's name? I want to see where I have Fun Deshaun. Right, he's got projects. Because he actually does work. That's what it is. Because he actually does work. He takes care of this project. I kind of want to replace this. Right, because my stuff, Spring Cloud Task, Hello World Target, maybe that's fine. Maybe that's fine. But is there anything else like crazy in there? We're still using Zaxxer. We're seeing stuff. It's still using JDBC or the JDBC H2. So it worked. So the JDBC API, I think, is the right one that we wanted for this getting started demo. It's working. Like, there's no errors in there. There's nothing crazy. I think we're in good shape. So the preceding output has 3 lines that the preceding output has 3 lines that are of interest to us here, right? That's a change. 2 says, if you had to sell Spring Boot to a company instead of other backend solutions, what are the main advantages you will sell to Persuade? So that's a fantastic, like, here's one. It's open source. Like, we can go and make changes. That's a big thing, right? There are definitely, commercial things that are trying to do what Spring does, but this has been around. It's tried and true. It's in all the coolest. I guess maybe I'm biased. Right? I think some companies are cool because they use Spring, but yeah, it's done things. From my seat as a developer, the things that it did for me was the production grade. So I could tell this story a bunch. Like, I was trying to, actually, let's draw the pictures. Maybe you've been here. Like, there is a wall. Right? There's dev. And there's ops. And that's the way it was, because that's how we've always done it. And I was literally like throwing my code over the wall. Like, it's like painful to talk about, but this is a safe place. Like, I was throwing it over the wall, and they were saying, "Oh, you can't deploy that because of this." the one thing was like 90% CPU or no memory. They had a limit on Java applications shouldn't be using 90% of the memory. So they said, hey, you got to throw that back. They would throw it back and they wouldn't let me take that thing to production. But here's the problem. With the thing that I was throwing over the wall, I needed it. The more I was using, the way I was using it, I needed it. The more stuff I had in there to dedupe with, the better. I needed it to be at that 90% level. That's where I was going to get optimization. The more stuff I put into that heap, the better the performance was. Because if I didn't do this, then over on the database side, right? Then what was happening is over on the database side, the amount of data that was coming in, I was having too many writes, and it was writing. So let's give the example. This is it. Let's do it this way. Create row and update row and update row and update row, and this is what was happening. So, and that would happen in 5 seconds or 6 seconds, whatever, right? We'd have all of these from one person, from one device somewhere. In seconds, I would do this. I would have a bunch of writes. Well, at the scale of millions, that added up really fast when there's a bunch of edits happening to the same thing. So what I said was, hey, let's do that here. Let's hold on to that row N for a little bit. Let's hold on to a bunch of them. Let's hold on to a bunch of them so we can dedupe, because we really don't care about all those updates. We're not storing them. We're just overwriting a bunch of data. So instead of writing all that back here, how about we just hold on to it a little bit and then write it out. So I could reduce that was the goal. So I wanted the more stuff I was holding in here, the better I was doing over here on the DB, because we're at scale. We're talking millions of users. And there was times where I needed it to be using. So that was the first thing. I was like, how do I do this? Because they're going to alert on this 90% memory usage when I don't want to alert. Not for this thing. I don't want it to alert on 90% memory usage. So this is where I found Spring Boot. It was the actuator. This is the thing that really, and actually, like, look at this. I go Deshaun.com. There's a video where I talk about it. I think right here. So you can go watch this, and I say the exact same thing here. So you can go watch that video, and I'm telling the exact same story right here. So I don't have to watch it. Go watch this video, and that'll tell you about why I chose Spring Boot. And it was here, the Spring Boot actuator. So go watch this video. You can go to Deshaun.com. And I won't tell the story again. Go to Deshaun.com, go to About, and then the Spring Boot observability from Spring 1, 2020. So do that. Watch it, and you'll get the whole story. But I was able to do this. I was able to add the Spring Boot actuator, and I could measure, how it was going to be operating, and I could decide whether I wanted to alert or not. And then I had to fight a fight over their alerts versus my alerts, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But that's what I did. That's one. Production ready, enterprise grade software is a big part of what Spring delivers and continues to deliver and continues to improve upon. So that's the main thing. but I could go on for days. Pin the YouTube URL, sure. Let's do here. This one. See, copied that one, and I'll put it here. Ooh. There we go. Yeah, watch it. It's short. It's fun. There's tons of good content over on the Spring YouTube. But yeah, those are some of my favorites. So that's it. Like production grade, it makes things easy. Like we did this Spring Cloud task in minutes, and we're not even trying to get to production quickly, but minutes. So I've already gone through this exercise. We're done. The framework, the things that the Spring projects provide, make the things that you and I are trying to do easy. They've got a path. Like, oh, you're trying to do a batch application? Don't come up with all the stuff yourself. Here's a pattern. Go follow this pattern. And oh, by the way, we invented this pattern with some of the largest companies in the world, and we've gotten feedback from them where they're doing it. I know you think you've got scale, but these companies over here are doing it at real scale. And they're contributing feedback, and they're helping with the roadmap for what's next in projects like Spring Cloud Task. So here's the thing. If I think about it for just a sec, one of the values of the Spring ecosystem is that it's more than just the code. I'm not just getting code. I'm not just buying software off the shelf. I'm getting all of the experience. And I get all the lessons learned from 20 plus years of experience from working with companies all over the world, large and small. I'm getting, for every roadblock that they ran into, for every pain point that existed in Spring Cloud Task 5 years ago, 2018, 10 years ago, for every pain point that existed, it's been removed. And I don't have to think about the better way, because all the companies, all of these other folks that have forked it, all of these folks that have contributed, they've already spent time processing and noodling on this. So when I'm ready to go to production with a short-lived task that I might run in the cloud, that I might run in Spring Cloud Dataflow, when I'm ready to go to production with that, I have some confidence. I have some confidence that this is going to work and that this is the right way to do it. If I decide to go to the cloud and be like, this isn't a good idea. And no, I've done this. I mean, I've totally done it. I've got a better way. Every time I've done that, and I've done it enough where I'm like, you know what? That's actually really difficult. And there's actually a lot of things that I didn't think about at the beginning. So when I'm trying to sell somebody on this, which I don't have to sell, I can just be like, hey, look, like I've got all these options. I've got this entire, and this isn't even it. This is just the stuff that the team that I work with. If I go to spring.io/support, if I go over here, these are the projects that are open source. If I'm betting my company on this, if I'm betting your company on this, these are all open source projects that, again, they've kind of stood the test of time. Some of them are deprecated. There's others that existed for a while, and then things changed, and others come in and replace it. But if I'm going to bet a company on this, on the software that they're taking to the cloud, this is what I'm going to bet on. And now if I'm making big bets, we have the technical support. Like you can buy, it's not just open source. You don't just have to go to here and create an issue. If you buy commercial support from Spring, if you buy commercial support, you get commercial support for all these, including your JDK, including your Tomcat, all these other products. And there's more beyond this. But if you're buying support and you're betting your company on this, this is where you want to go. So a good question, Tukes. Thanks for asking the question, because sometimes we need to re-evaluate our assumptions. And you're asking that question. Like, I'm out here, I work for the company, I'm totally biased, but I was in your seat not that long ago, right? I'm gonna, you know what, here, I'm gonna remind you guys, go here. Like, these are live streams, but if you want to like get a little bit of background into like some of my stories, like go watch these videos. There's not a bunch. And some of these aren't really my stories. Like they're cool stuff, but go watch these videos. There's one more. Oh, here. Yeah. Go watch these videos and you'll get a really good idea of like some of the background and some of the story. I think it sets things up really well. And yeah, and you'll get an idea of like where I'm coming from. So you'll get caught up on a lot of the stories and you'll get a really good sense of the background. So I highly recommend this is my website and the About page and watch those videos. And they're not long. There's nothing that's really long. And I think you'll enjoy it. So thanks for asking the question, reevaluating some assumptions, but yeah, you'll get some stories and you'll get some background because I evaluated the other things. Right? So it's not just that I'm here. I'm lucky to be here and I'm grateful to be here. And I believe in this because I have 20 years of experience using Spring. Right? I have all of the lessons learned and I've learned a lot. Right? I've taken things to production. I've done some amazing things. So yeah, I'm here and it's real. And I am absolutely passionate, and I haven't used all of these things, but I want to. That's how much I love it. I want to. Fantastic. Like, ask questions. Harpreet, thanks for asking the question. What are your thoughts about using Spring Data REST? Should I stick with Spring MVC with REST controller? Harpreet, like, that's a great question. Spring Data REST, I have had a ton of fun with. Spring Data REST, one of the things that I enjoyed doing, I combined Spring Data REST with Spring REST docs. So my documentation always matches, right? Again, documentation, same thing, documentation matching what's actually happening in the project. We're doing that. There are some cases where Spring Data REST does a lot of the work for you. You could do a lot of things in a lot of different ways, but let's take a look at Spring Data REST. I like it. And there are use cases. I've taken it to production, and there are customers I know that have taken it to production, and there are some places where it simplifies things so much that that's all that you need. So it is still a very valuable project. It works. So don't be afraid of it. But yeah, you get a lot of the same conventions. But you could do a lot of the things that we're doing, a lot of things we're taking in production. You could do it in multiple ways, right? Even like Spring Batch and Spring Cloud Task, right? There's a lot of similarities, but depending on, hey, is it long running? Is it short running? Depending on what you need, do you need the retry stuff? You're gonna catch. So if what you're doing is just Spring Data REST, if that's the extent of your application, why would you bring in Spring MVC and use REST controller? Right? If it's just a data access tier, if it's just about the data and you're just providing the REST endpoints, why would you bring in Spring MVC? Why would you cloud it at all? Just by looking at your POM file, I would get a sense of, oh, here's the type of application it is. So again, that's my 2 cents. I think it's valuable. But if there's other things in there, then maybe Spring MVC. Don't be afraid. Do the experiment. And I think a lot of the stuff would translate either way. I just liked it. It simplified a lot of things. DMOC, maybe for a sec reason. Maybe for a sec reason. Oh, for security reasons. Well, I don't think there's anything. I think you'll get all the same security benefits. I think you can put your same web security configure adapter in front of your Spring Data REST that you could in front of Spring MVC. But that's a good question. That's something maybe we should explore. So Harpreet, do you want to explore the differences? Do you want to do it side by side on that? I don't know what I'm going to stream tomorrow. Is that what we should talk about? Should we do Spring Data REST and compare it with like a Spring MVC? I would be happy to do that. So great questions. And I hope that these are good conversations and you're finding value. But let's continue on with our PR. We made changes. I'm reading the end here. On this doc, I think that we are set. I'm going to do one last quick scan through. I think that we're set. We copied our stuff. We did our updating. The biggest, I came in with some assumptions on what I wanted to fix, but the thing I'm most excited about is this. And that we're doing the latest and greatest. So I feel like I'm ready to do a PR. What do you guys think? Is there anything else I should do here? Because our stuff worked. Here's what I want to do. I want to remove this. I'm going to remove this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, and this is, again, the question was like, hey, let's do this live. I'm in Spring Cloud Task. Let's see if there's any others. Update link to snapshot documentation. Oh, currently the opening paragraph in the reference document has a link to the old location of the snapshot docs. Harpreet. Cool. Harpreet, we're going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to ask you a favor. Here's an issue that was opened up by Glenn, who was on the show yesterday. Here's an issue that was opened up that says just update a link to the snapshot documentation. He points to where it's at. You already understand how to get through this documentation. Update it to the new location. Harpreet. I would love if you, now that we've done one together, I would love it if you would go and grab this issue. I'm assuming that you qualify as a first timer since you asked the question. I would love it if you would go, this is my ask, Harpreet. You go and make this change. You do this, then look at that. You do that. I don't know how much time you have. I don't think it's going to take that long. But you do that, this is what we're doing tomorrow. We're doing a comparison tomorrow. All right. Give a little, get a little. Can we make that happen? Hopefully I have inspired you. I would love to see you do that. That would make my week. That would absolutely make my week. I'm going to keep on reading through here to see if there's any other like documentation changes. So I'm going to create an issue that is like, hey, I found some other documentation changes. I don't know how to, I started it with these, right? Notes, clarifications, the documentation references old initializer and could needs to be updated to avoid confusion. So the issue was here. I'm going to copy just these things here. Boop. Boop. Here, notes, HTTP, the getting started. In the dependencies text box, type JDBC. This is what it said. Quote. All right. And then also when our sample application runs, right, boop, 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 I'm going to quote that. So I'm trying to identify what the issue is. Look at this. You already are making me happy. You're taking a step. This is so awesome. So it's 10:30. Normally I want to end the stream at 10:30, but we got some flexibility. I don't have anything. My beeps haven't been happening. My phone's not ringing. So I think we're okay. So I'm gonna wrap this up. But I just want to do a time check. I know that everybody's busy, and I'm so glad that you're here. But we're gonna finish this. So all I'm doing is I'm copying, and I'm making a note of, hey, here's what it is. The example is not using command line runner, it's using application runner. Also, the output, the package name doesn't match what we get from initializer. So should I make these as bullet points? 1, 2, 3. What were the other things that we changed? We changed the output. So let's just go back and see the things that we thought needed fixing. You don't have to have Maven installed. Maven installed because you get the Maven wrapper with initializer. Then we added some clarification. So yeah, there, JDBC added some clarification. Because I guess there's two ways here. I could change like what they put into the task and just have them select the one that's sitting there. Like say Spring Cloud task, select that task. JDBC API, select that dependency. I'm gonna leave it here. But there's questions. I'm feeling good about this as an improvement. Whether it's the right answer, I don't know. I changed the example. And what else do we say? Hello World application runner, not command line runner. We already covered that. Use the wrapper. How do other getting started pages do it? That's a great question. That is a great question. Like, is there a convention? Let's go take a look at that real quick. And which one should we go to? I got an idea. Let's go to Spring REST docs or Spring Data REST. And let's go to the getting started. Features. I'm going to go to learn. Let's go to the reference. Here's current. And I expect getting started. Switch to Gradle. Here. Adding. So they don't reference initializer. Do they? Where is it? So in this example, the getting started, they don't have use the initializer. Whoa, what is this? Edit this page. What? No way. That is craziness. We just go and edit the page. Just go and edit the docs. That's crazy talk. That's so cool. That's cool to me. So yeah, they only do the actual dependencies. So we'll try it out. So let's keep on going. Like, I think we're on a good track. There's questions, and maybe we'll get some feedback, but let's keep on going here. You don't need to have Maven installed. I think we did that. Let's keep on going. And here we go. We're making it. We updated our output. I think that we're in good shape here. Oh, we fixed a little grammar. Here, let's make sure. Simple task repository logged the creation. I want to see that line. Here it is. Simple task repository. Yep, log the creation of the entry in the task repository. All right, and then simple task repository logs the completion. Here it is. Exit code 0, error message null, exit message null. Fantastic. All right, those are the interesting ones. That is exactly right. So that's part of what the Spring Cloud task does for us. It's logging, the execution started and stopped, and it's throwing it into a database. And in this example, it was in that embedded database. So we're good. It worked. We're in good shape. I think that our PR is ready. Harpreet, is there anything else I need to add? So I create the issue. That's the issue. Now I'm going to commit my changes to my fork. Last call. Is there anything else that we forgot? Is there anything else that I need to add here as we get ready to do this commit? Here, get status. We're not there anymore. Get status. We only make changes in that one document. Harpreet says it looks good. I appreciate that. I'm feeling pretty good about this. We opened up our issue. Git add this. Git commit. Let's just git commit update getting started docs, reduce possible confusion, fix fix example, update output with help from Harpreet, or Harpreet Singh, and Jonas, I don't remember your last name. GitHub.com. Oh, here we go. I'll let you finish what you're doing, but I would like some feedback on how you do authentication between your Raspberry Pi and your cluster. Trying to join one of my zeros to my cluster. Okay, I can help you with that. You help me with your last name. Andersen. Andersen. Boom. Git push. So that goes to my fork. And then I'm going to go to my fork, github.com, Sean Spring Cloud task, And it's going to say, hey, I see you've got some stuff here. Would you like to do a PR? Actually, I would. Open PR. It says it's able to merge. It looks like, hey, we're doing our stuff. Nothing jumping out. Oh, I removed the or your favorite database. So if I look at this, is there anything that's jumping out to me? If I'm somebody that's reviewing this, is there anything jumping out to me like, hey, why did you do this? That is cool that we're doing this. I added some Maven output. We're good. See how it has 3 lines that are of interest to us here. And this one's definitely Heartbeat. Yeah, fantastic. I'm feeling good. Did you change the package name too? Yes. Yes, I did. Because in what we get, we were asked to use io.spring.demo. And in the demo code, right, it had the wrong example. So I made it io.spring.demo and I had to fix the capitalization. So yes, we did that as well. So I think we're set. I'm feeling good about this. I'm going to create pull request. I'm hitting the button. Now this is when the real fun starts. This fixes, sorry, open link, a new tab. This should fix number 940. So here I go fixes 940. That's it. Good. Allow edits by maintainers. Yes, of course. Here we go. Let's create. It was just one. I'm feeling good. So we're doing this. Create pull request. Now here's the thing. I like this feeling. Wherever it's at, whatever project it's at, just transparency. I'm going to be watching this. I'm going to be watching my notifications to get updates on this. That whole like my extended team feeling that I had, that I talked about earlier, that extended team, like when somebody made a comment, like maybe I've done, like I made ridiculous PR, like, oh, that's silly. Get out of here with that. We don't need to do that. Even that, I felt connected to the Spring team. Or even if they weren't on the Spring team, sometimes I get a comment from somebody that's not on the Spring team. Somebody else is watching this. One of the other people that's making a fork, or one of the other committers. Maybe they're not on the Spring team, but they're watching. They care about this project. They're invested in it. Maybe they're looking at it and they're like, hey, I got a better idea. This feeling now, I'm engaged. Now I'm invested in this project. I've used it in the past, but now I'm invested in it. And I love this feeling. And even if it doesn't get accepted, even if they blast it, oh, we're going to rewrite it all, that's okay. I'm invested now in this project and I love that feeling. And I will be checking my GitHub notifications for any updates, comments, whatever. This is a thing. And whether it's Spring or others, like I love the feeling of having a PR. Nobody asked me to do this. I'm contributing. And if it gets accepted, if that PR gets accepted, then I'm, like I said, I already said, if Heartbeat already took and made a fork, right? This, I'm excited. If he actually does that issue, my week has been made. If I get a PR, man, if that PR gets merged, who knows? Like I'm going to celebrate. That's what I'm going to do. Like nothing less than a celebration, man. So I'll be honest, like these are the streams that make me feel good. Great questions. I feel like we actually like not just like got something done, like we talked about it. Do you have any other questions about Spring Cloud Task? Like, does it make sense what we did? start up an application. We can deploy it with a cron job. We can put it into Spring Cloud Dataflow. This idea of Spring Cloud Task, it's just something short-lived. It's a cron job. It's something that we need to do. Like, go execute. I can come in and add to it later. We'll have it go and pull down this feed and put it into a database. We'll do that later. I think, even though we talked about Spring Cloud Task, I think we did at least a 100 level overview of it. I think we had great questions. I think that the exercise of going through and making a PR on documentation, I think that is super valuable. I'm glad that Harpreet brought up that question. I think we also found out, like, hey, tomorrow, let's do a Spring REST or Spring Data REST versus Spring MVC with REST controller. The other question is also, and Spring Data JDBC, Spring Data JPA. Like, just this already, right? It's not just either Spring Data REST or Spring MVC with REST controller. It's Spring Data REST with Spring MVC and REST controller. And I've got to then pick how I'm going to interface with that data. So there's a couple of questions asked, but we'll go down that path. Now, Harpreet, tomorrow, same time, would you be interested in just like coming on? You don't have to have the camera, but would you be interested in just like coming on? If you have camera, fantastic. But like, come into the circle and let's just talk about it. Because that way I don't have to like prepare a whole bunch of stuff. We can just like go through the exercise together and we can talk. If you're interested in that, send me an email. And for anybody, if you use email, Sean@SeanAun.com. Okay, now you've got my email address. Harpreet, if you're interested, shoot me an email. I'll send you an invite and we'll do this tomorrow. But again, we'll take questions and we'll answer stuff and we'll have a conversation and hopefully it will be beneficial. But I know that, hey, we're pushing past 10:30, not a big deal. Like I have time. I don't have any schedule. This was fun. I am gonna end this stream. Watch this. Boom. Stream ending soon. I'll do this. This was fun. I had a blast. I'm excited for PR. I'm going to be checking my GitHub notifications for a PR, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I haven't touched Spring Data REST in a while, so it'll be fun to see what's new. And yeah, let's do like a comparison. So thanks for everybody. I appreciate it. It's been fun. I will be watching the Spring Cloud Task issues to see if Harpreet has made any progress. I'll be checking my inbox to see if he's interested in coming and joining. But that it's not just Harpreet. Anybody, if you're interested in coming on and having a conversation about something, especially if it's related to Spring Boot, Spring Cloud, Raspberry Pis, Kubernetes, getting in production, yeah, let's do it. But one last thing. Let me go here and let me show your question. I didn't forget about your question, Jonas. And if I go to github.com, the Sean-Cloud Flux Control, I'm pretty sure it's in my README. So when I set up the controller, I use K3 Sup. I don't know if you're using that or not. But this is how I do it. I set up my control node this way. I get my kubeconfig. Remember, I disable traffic because I'm using Knative serving. And that's the name of the context that I'm going to give it. I've got a bunch of contexts. So this is what I do. And then when I want to add an agent, add another worker to that, then I just say, hey, join this IP. So wherever that Raspberry Pi 0 is, the IP of that one, let me put that back up there. Here we go. You can't see the screen. Hey, DMOC, thank you. I hope to see you again soon. And yeah, You got to be able to see the screen. Let me move this over. There we go. With K3 SUP, I install K3S, and that becomes my control node. This one becomes my control node. My server IP. This would be my server IP. And then when I want to add to it, K3 SUP takes care of it for me. It just says, hey, join this new IP, the one that's my Raspberry Pi Zero. Join that IP to this server IP. And then this is the user. So on those boxes, I have my SSH key. Yep, I got an error. Like SSH unable to authenticate attempted methods, none, public key, no supported method. So where I have this user, I make sure that the username on all of those machines. So when I installed Ubuntu on all of the nodes, I made sure that my username was the same across all the nodes. So it's Deshaun on all the nodes. And then my private public key pair, I have an SSH key pair that I've installed on all the nodes so that I can join them. So I can have access to all the nodes. When I SSH into control node, it knows who I am. When I access it into that zero node, it knows who I am. So that's the difference. So if you want to work through that, I'm happy to. Again, same invite's open. Grab time, grab everybody. You know how to grab time, Deshaun.com. Here's my calendar. You can go grab time. If you want to work through this, yep, you need to install the keys. There you go. There you go. Yep, the public keys. Put the public keys, public key part on those. That's it. Fantastic. We did it. So again, that's just another. I felt like that was a bonus question. I appreciate you for playing along and going down that path. That's exciting because I'm excited to do more stuff, and you'll get to validate all of these things. We did the gateway earlier this week. We did Spring Batch yesterday, even though we only touched on it lightly. Today we did an example of Spring Cloud Task, and we made some changes. Is there an easy command to install them, or just copy paste it now? The command is SSH copy ID. Clear. SSH-copy-ID. So what I normally do is SSH-copy. Oops. SSH copy ID. And so what I'm normally doing is SSH-copy-ID-I. And then the identity file is root./SSH/myID. Or underscore pub dot RSA or whatever it is. And then to Deshaun at agent IP. So that's the command. SSH copy ID. Give it the public file that you want to copy and where you want to copy it to. Good question. Good question. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So this is good. It felt good. It felt good. This one is probably my favorite one that we've done so far. And maybe it's because of that PR, because I had that joy of the PR. I have the joy of Harpreet, I think, is going to go and take that burst timer issue. And we also know what we're going to do tomorrow. So I have something to dig into. I feel good. I feel really good. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. And I do. I hope to see you tomorrow. And I hope you good luck on your path to production. And we'll see you again soon.